If you're a medical professional and you have any debt that's causing you stress, this video is for you. We are going to walk through strategies to make sure that you're clearing your debt in the way that makes the most sense and costs you the least amount of money. Burton, a critical care PA and the founder of Millionaires in Medicine. I went from $161,000 in student loan debt to a millionaire at 31 as a PA, and I've helped a lot of other medical professionals learn to master their money. These debt strategies will allow you to deal with the debt that's stressing you out in a way that actually costs you the least. Now, before we go any further, please like this video. It will send it out to more medical professionals like you struggling with debt, and subscribe to the channel. That way, when we have more content coming out about how to actually build wealth as a medical professional, you're the first to know. For everything else, let's dive in. You may have heard of the debt snowball, popularized by Dave Ramsey. This approach to debt means that you take your list of debts, you arrange them with the smallest balance at the top, the largest balance at the bottom, and you start working your way down. This way doesn't make any sense from a math standpoint. If you have debts that vary in interest rate, if everything's charging you 6%, it doesn't matter. Pay it off however you want. But if you have some debt that is high interest, like credit card debt or personal loans, and you have some debt that's low interest, like some medical debt charging you 0%, you need to pay them off in a certain order so that you can save the most on interest, and the snowball approach doesn't do that for you. You have to do what's called the debt avalanche, meaning you start with your highest interest rate debt, regardless of the balance, and work your way down. Let me show you an example with sample debt so that you can see what this actually looks like and how much it saves you in interest to structure it this way. We'll look at 4 pretend pieces of non-student loan debt: 2 credit cards, a car payment, and a loan from parents. The interest rate spread here ranges from 32% to 3%, right? So we don't have all debts that have the same interest rate of 6%. We see this spread where some is high interest and some is low. Assuming that you're going to allocate $2,500 a month to this debt payoff plan, which, by the way, is a lot of money, right? And a very aggressive debt payoff plan. But if you're going to allocate $2,500 per month and you're going to do the snowball approach to this, you're going to pay a little over $20,000 in interest. That's a lot of money in interest. But you're still going to be debt-free in just a few years, 3 years to be exact, which isn't bad. But watch this. If you do the exact same thing, the $2,500 a month, but all you do is change the order in which you pay the stuff off, and you start with that high interest debt rather than the lowest balance, you end up reducing your total interest paid to $16,800, which means you actually save yourself over $3,000 just by changing the order of your payments with no other changes at all. Now, why else does this matter? As a medical professional, you likely went to high school, undergrad, graduate school, then you started clinical practice. And so you had this really long time where you were not able to actually invest for your future. Most of us start investing late 20s, early 30s, if we're lucky. And a lot of us don't actually get serious about this until mid-30s or beyond. That means that you're actually way behind in terms of investing and funding your financial independence or your retirement. So at some point, you need to split your big progress dollars that you're putting towards debt and start really thinking about investing for your future. The longer you wait, the harder it is. So when do you make that split? If you have your debts ordered by interest rate, it becomes very easy. When you get out of the high interest debt numbers, I'll roughly say an interest rate of 10% or above, you now are in moderate interest rate debt territory or even low interest rate debt territory. That means you should simultaneously be investing for your future while clearing the debt. Why? As a medical professional, we'll use PAs as an example, you actually need multiple millions of dollars in order to retire. This chart shows sample numbers of what you actually need to have an inflation-adjusted future retirement, replacing 80% of your current income. You can see income is on the left, and what you actually need to be retired is on the right. The low end is in the $4 million range, right? And the higher your earnings, aka the more you spend, right? That more expensive your lifestyle is, the more money you actually need to replace it. And so if you need to generate multiple millions of dollars, it is intuitive that the earlier you start, the more you get to take advantage of compounding return. The later you start, the more you have to save on your own to generate those multiple millions of dollars. So you have to start early. We missed the real start early window, right? Because we're medical professionals, so we were in school forever. So what you need to do is start as soon as you get into that moderate interest rate debt territory. And if you have ordered your debts in the debt avalanche method, then by nature, you'll immediately know, oh, I've checked the high interest things off my list. Now here I am, I'm at moderate to low interest rate debt. Now I need to devise a plan to do both things in conjunction. If you're doing the debt snowball, it gets all confusing. Because if your credit card balance is really large, it might be at the bottom of the list. And maybe you think, incorrectly, that you should be paying off your student loans first before your credit card debt, right? You see how that messes up the order of things, puts you in a weird position from an investing standpoint, and costs you more in interest as you do it. This is an example of what happens if you try to pay off debt while you're investing and it's high interest. You can see in this scenario, the person on the left is doing a combo plan of paying off credit card debt while they invest. The person on the right pays off all their credit card debt first and then invests. And you can see that that plan is superior from a mathematical standpoint, and it is because the interest rate of credit cards is higher than what you will earn in the stock market. The only exception to this is investing in your 401k or 403b up to your employer match, where you're going to get a 100% return on investment before stock market returns. The key when you're doing the structure of the debt avalanche, high interest rate debt first, then moderate and low interest debt gets wrapped in an investing plan. The key is to get through that high interest rate window as fast as humanly possible, because your investing is delayed until you do. That's why when I look at cash flow systems, I structure mine differently than most money apps. I have a category that I call progress dollars, which is where you're actually making extra non-minimum debt payments, savings contributions, not for your trip to Italy, but for your emergency fund or investment. You can quickly see that number in one spot and then compare that to your total income. That allows you to rapidly see if I'm not putting at least 20% of my income towards my financial goals, I'm not going to get there quickly. And for almost all medical professionals, that's at least $1,000. So if you're not putting 20% of your income or at least $1,000 a month towards financial progress, you're going to very quickly realize that the high interest debt portion of your plan is going to take you too long. The longer you wait to invest, the harder that it is to come up with those multiple millions that you need. If you cannot clear your credit card debt in 3 to 6 months using this approach, you can consider things like balance transfers to a 0% APR card or even using a personal loan. However, this does not solve the problem. It just saves you an interest while you solve the problem. This is an example from NerdWallet of what it looks like if you take $10,000 in credit card debt and you move it to a 0% APR card. You save about $2,000 during the payoff. But the assumption behind this type of math is always that you clear the debt in the 0% APR window, which is typically 12 to 21 months. Meaning, if you owe $12,000 in credit card debt and you move the money to a 0% APR card for 12 months, you need to pay $1,000 a month until it is paid off. Otherwise, you negate the benefit. So this is not a problem solver. This saves you an interest while you solve the problem. What I see most often is people utilize these card transfers. They continue to use the new card. They continue to use the old card. They wind up with more credit card debt at the end of the 12 months than they had when they started. I'm not a big fan, but if you're going to execute this with financial discipline, you could consider it. A personal loan, again, is another way, if you have good credit, that you can save an interest as you pay this off. However, almost all personal loans still fall into the high interest debt category, meaning you're still going to have to pay it off before you get into that moderate interest rate debt category where you're investing. So while you'll save money and interest during your payoff process, it doesn't change the fact that you still have to pay it off rapid fire as soon as humanly possible. My goal for you is to get you out of the high interest debt phase as soon as humanly possible so you can actually get to the fun stuff and start building wealth. If you're not already inside, go below, click to join the Millionaires in Medicine Club for free. You'll join over 5,000 medical professionals who are talking about how to earn more money, how to clear their debt, and how to build wealth. So if you're anywhere in this journey, you'll find someone else that's doing the exact same thing so that you can be encouraged and get some new tools for your process.